everyone, welcome back to Raw Synergy TV. So today I want to talk to you about the difference between water fasting and juice cleansing and my personal experience with both of them. So I'll just give a really brief background for those of you who may be new to my channel. I did a water fast back in 2012. And the reason I did that water fast was because I was experiencing what I thought were food allergies and food sensitivities. And my diet was extremely limited. I had very little that I could eat. And so doing a water fast felt like the only option that I had at the time to get my body back in a state of balance. So I ended up doing a supervised water fast for 13 days with Dr. Douglas Graham in Washington State. And it was an incredible experience. It was very, very intense, and I'll talk a little bit about that later in the video. So fast forward 10 years later, I end up realizing that what I'm actually dealing with is what is known as histamine intolerance, which can affect people in all different ways. And I, again, started becoming really, really limited in the amount of foods that I could eat. And also, last year, I started experiencing multiple chemical sensitivity really bad, where I was getting rashes all over my upper body. And it got to the point where I really couldn't even leave the house unless I was willing to deal with getting this really awful rash. So I felt really ready to do something, and juice cleansing felt like the next right step for me. So just before the start of 2022, about 3 to 5 days before, I began a juice cleanse. And I had no idea how long I was going to juice cleanse for, but I ended up going 136 days. So I have experience with both water fasting and juice cleansing, and I am going to share my personal experience with both of them and kind of give you a rundown of the difference between the two and how I was affected by each one. First, I want to say that this is not meant to be any kind of medical advice, and please talk to your doctor or your healthcare professional before embarking on either a water fast or a juice cleanse. You want to make sure that your health condition will be supported by either of these modalities. And it's really, really important that you know what you're getting into. So you also want to do your research and talk to your doctor. When it comes to water fasting, you definitely want to do it under the supervision or guidance of a healthcare professional who actually knows what they're doing with water fasting. There are definitely retreats that you can go to. There's places in California and places in Costa Rica that do this for a living. They are qualified professionals with many years of experience. And if this is something that you decide that you want to do and you're going to do it more than just 1 or 2 days, doing it under the guidance and supervision of somebody who knows what they're doing is really, really important. With juice cleansing, you can do juice cleansing at home without any supervision. You definitely want to do your research beforehand so you know what to expect and how to prepare for juice cleansing. But it is something that you can do at home, and as long as you check with your healthcare provider and make sure that you don't have any conditions that would be contraindicated with juice cleansing, then you can do juice cleansing at home, no problem, and you don't need supervision. With water fasting, there's no food to prepare because you are drinking only water. Only water and nothing else. For however long you're going to go, you are simply consuming either filtered water, spring water, or distilled water. And it just varies depending on what your preference is, but either one of those, it's definitely going to be something that does not have all the impurities in it, because you really want your body to be able to utilize the water to flush out toxins, and you don't want to be putting in chlorine and fluoride and all that kind of stuff in while you're trying to cleanse your body. With juice cleansing, you are spending a lot of time in the kitchen. There's a lot of food prep because you are going to be juicing a lot of produce. With water fasting, you're drinking enough water that you're peeing somewhere between 10 to 12 times per day, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. Don't take my word for it. Please do your research. You definitely didn't want to see a lot of color in your urine. You wanted it to be very pale in color or clear. And with juice cleansing, you want to drink at the very least a gallon of fresh juice per day that you're making at home, or more, especially if you're more active. So you want to just drink enough juice that you stay satisfied and that you get enough calories to meet your caloric needs for the day. So in my case, I drank a little over a gallon every day. Sometimes if I was more active, I would drink more than that. And it ended up being anywhere between 4 and 6 liters on average per day of fresh pressed juice. With both water fasting and juice cleansing, you may have cravings for food. With water fasting, for me, I felt hungry. And when I say hungry, like I actually felt physical hunger in my belly. Like I felt like I was hungry. My stomach was growling a lot for the majority of my water fast. And that's something that is different for every person. For some people, when they water fast, their hunger will completely vanish. They will not have any hunger, and your body will adjust. But for me, during my water fast, I felt hungry pretty much all the time. The nice thing about going to a retreat center is they're really good about shielding you from food and from the smell of food. The nice thing about going to one of those centers is you're fasting with other people who are doing the same thing, so you have a common goal that you're fasting together. You have the support of the people around you who are also doing the same thing. If you're fasting in a place where you're constantly smelling food or people are eating around you, it can be even more challenging. So it really helps to do it in a group setting so that you are not tempted or reminded of food. When I did my juice cleanse, I did not feel hungry ever, because anytime I did feel hungry, I would drink juice. And that's really the key. You never want to feel hungry on a juice cleanse. You always just want to fuel your body with the fresh juices, and you get so many nutrients, so many vitamins and minerals that are concentrated in the juice, and you really shouldn't feel hungry. Although you may still get cravings for food. Like if you are coming off of a standard diet and you're just used to having things like sweets and fast food and things like that, those cravings may come up for you. So it really helps to have a support system so that you're not tempted to eat those foods while you're juice cleansing. Obviously, in both situations of water fasting and juice cleansing, support is really important. You definitely need support and guidance along your journey. But I will say, like, as far as cravings, like I had a little bit of craving for some things. Like for me, because I eat so healthy already, I would have cravings for just like a salad. Like I would just want to eat a salad with avocado and some nuts or seeds or something like that. I was definitely craving tomatoes and things that I wasn't able to eat, or even just like having a juicy mango. Like sometimes I did have a craving for that, but it comes and goes, and if you just distract yourself long enough, it will just vanish and go away. And I will say also with juice cleansing, if you keep your calories up, you really don't have any cravings at all, or at least I didn't, and my friends who are juicing also experienced the same. As long as the calories stay up where your body is staying satiated. So just FYI, this next part that I'm going to talk about is about bowel movements. So if you're eating, or if this is not your thing, you may just want to fast forward just a little pinch here, but I just want to talk about this really quick because this was really significant for me as far as the comparison between the two. So for water fasting, during my 13 days of water fasting, I think I only had one very, very small bowel movement. And when I say small, I mean like one small rock, that we'll essentially call it a rock, that came out. And it was just covered in mucus. But otherwise, for that entire 13 days, no bowel movements whatsoever. However, on the juice cleanse, for 136 days, I did have bowel movements every single day. And there were both solid and liquid bowel movements. So it was amazing to see that even though I was not taking in any fiber, just the juices, because I strained my juices multiple times before drinking them, I still had solid material coming out of me, solid waste, every single day. And I think there was only maybe just a couple of days where maybe there wasn't much solid material that came out, but literally every single day of the juice cleanse, I had bowel movement. So my body was doing a lot of cleansing, and it was very interesting to see the difference between the two. So there were some people that I saw in the groups that I am a member of, like online, the juicing groups, where people were still struggling to go to the bathroom even though they were drinking lots of juice, because the juice is very cleansing. It goes in and it really loosens up all the stuck waste in your intestinal and bowel walls, and it flushes it right out. But there were still some people who were struggling a little bit with that. So it doesn't happen for everybody, but for some people it can be challenging to still go. I also know that there were some people during my water fast who were having bowel movements every day during their water fast. So it's different for everybody. It's especially a good idea to not compare your experience with somebody else's, with what they're going through, because we are all different in what our bodies are going to experience, although there can be a lot of similarities. Okay, this next one is a really big one because this is something that was really intense for me on both cleanses, both the water fast and the juice cleanse, and that's detox symptoms. So during my water fast, I had detox symptoms throughout the entire water fast. I experienced so much discomfort, nausea pretty much the whole time during my water fast. I just did not feel good at all. I experienced headaches, body aches, back aches. I was really, really uncomfortable, and it was a huge challenge, which is another really good reason to do a supervised water fast, because the challenges that can come up can be pretty scary. They can be really intense, and so you definitely want people by your side who know what they're doing, who've done it before, and who have all the knowledge and experience to guide you through these symptoms and the process. Same thing with the juice cleanse. I had detox symptoms pretty much throughout the entire juice cleanse. It was like up and down, up and down, up and down, and I had so many body aches. My back was aching, upper back, lower back, it would vary, and it was really painful. Pain in my hips, pain in my legs. I had some nausea sometimes, a little bit here and there. I definitely had my fair share of headaches. Some of them were really intense, and some were very mild. Some were a little bit longer lasting, and some were really short. They would show up, last for maybe like an hour, and then disappear. So all of that was very challenging. I also utilized certain protocols during the juice cleanse, like colonics. I ended up having about 4 colonics throughout my entire juice cleanse, and that was really helpful, especially for the detox symptoms. I also did, towards the end of my juice cleanse, I did a lymphatic treatment, which was very, very intense, because about 3 days after that treatment, it pretty much knocked me out, and I was bedridden for about 3 days because it was so intense and I just couldn't move. Also, I did end up having experiences where I was draining lots of mucus from my head. I definitely experienced fatigue, had days where I felt really, really tired, really exhausted, no motivation, no energy. Again, that would come and go. Some people, they'll experience that for the first week. They'll have all these crazy symptoms during the first week, and then after that point, they feel amazing. They feel high on life. They feel so energetic and joyful and blissful and absolutely amazing. And then other people like me who have more health issues to deal with, it can be a little different. So in both cases, water fasting and juice cleansing, I had a lot of detox symptoms, and it was very challenging, but definitely worth it. Weight loss is a pretty big thing with both water fasting and juice cleansing. In both cases, unless you have a lot of weight to lose, like if you're overweight and you really need to lose a lot of weight, in most cases the weight loss is temporary and you will gain it back once you start eating again. However, if you're already on the thin side like I am, you will likely lose a lot of weight really fast, and it will take a little while for you to build back up to your weight. I'm still not at my normal weight. I still have a few pounds more to go. So it's taken me a little longer, and I completed my cleanse, my juice cleanse, about 4.5 months ago. So it's slow. For me, it's more slow. But it just depends. Every person is different. So just know that weight loss is a possibility, but it's probably not going to be like a long-term solution unless you completely keep to a really clean, healthy, whole foods diet after you break your fast or your juice cleanse. During my juice cleanse, my teeth became really sensitive about 2 weeks, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 weeks in. My teeth got really, really sensitive, and I heard this from other people as well. But after a week of experiencing the sensitivity, it eventually went away. And so I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is like the body is releasing acids, or if it's just getting used to the juices on your teeth all the time, but it did go away for me. And then it ended up, I think, coming back towards the middle end part of my cleanse for another few days, and then it went away again. And another thing, sometimes your teeth can feel kind of like fuzzy from all the juices and the carbohydrates. So it's a really good idea to keep your mouth rinsed in between juices, and definitely brushing and flossing still a couple of times a day. I brushed twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and I tried to swish my mouth with water after drinking juices as much as I could possibly remember. With water fasting, obviously you don't really have to do this. I still brushed my teeth during the water fasting, because when you're doing a water fast, your body's in ketosis and it can create really bad breath, and so I would just brush my teeth just to cleanse and freshen my breath. One great thing about the water fasting was that at the end of my water fast, my teeth were incredibly white. They were so, so white. It's like they remineralized and they just looked so bright. Something else that happens with both a water fast and a juice cleanse, the tongue typically becomes very coated at the beginning of the fast or cleanse and will often become less coated towards the end. With the water fasting, my sleep was really difficult. One of the reasons it was difficult was because I did lose so much weight during the water fast, like between 13 and 15 pounds, and I was already very thin. So that made it really uncomfortable because basically you lose all the fat on your body and you have no cushion for your bones. So sleeping became really difficult because it was like my bones were just like protruding and it was just uncomfortable. Like laying in bed was uncomfortable and it was hard to sleep. And with the juice cleansing, I feel like it was up and down a little bit with the sleep, but I kind of settled into sleeping really well, and I found that I needed far less sleep when I was doing the juice cleanse. Like, just did not need nearly as much sleep. I found that if we went to bed at 11 or so every night, I would automatically pretty much wake up wide awake around 5 a.m. And normally I could probably easily sleep for 7 to 8 hours and not necessarily wake up like ready to go and totally refreshed. It was definitely great to need less sleep when juicing. But again, that can be different for everybody. Your experience may be totally different than mine. But I did hear a lot of people who were talking about their juice cleanses saying that they also required far less sleep. With water fasting, because you're not consuming any calories, you're not getting any nutrition, and your body is burning fat for fuel, in my case, I felt very, very weak during my water fast. I had no energy, and for most people, their blood pressure will become low when they're water fasting. So your blood pressure lowers, your heart rate increases, you always feel like your heart is racing. You will likely feel faint upon standing or moving around a lot because you're not getting any calories, you're not getting any nutrition, you're not getting any fuel. Your body will feel less energized in most cases, and basically, when you're water fasting, you're pretty much just on bed rest because you don't have the energy to move around. So you're basically resting the whole time, you can't really move around a whole lot, and you spend a lot of time sleeping and not doing a whole lot. So with water fasting, you are going to feel that rapid heartbeat, and with juice cleansing, you're probably not going to experience any heart rate changes. With juice cleansing, because you're getting so many nutrients and you're getting your daily need for calories and you're getting this concentrated nutrition in the juice, you have so much energy. You just feel like you could go all day long, and as long as I wasn't going through like a detox period, I had plenty of energy from morning until night, which is great. But there definitely were times where I felt my body needed rest and I would just go lay down and take a nap because I just did not have the energy. So it can fluctuate for sure. And with a water fast, because you are basically on bed rest, you really can't work. Like, unless you're working from your computer and doing like light work that doesn't require a lot of energy or mental thought or anything like that, you basically aren't going to work, you're not being active, and exercise is not recommended, and besides, you probably won't have any energy to do exercise. But with a juice cleanse, because you have so much energy, you can definitely go to work, you can definitely work out and be physical, get lots of exercise if you want to. For me, we walk every day, and so I was able to keep up with walking every day and doing light, mild exercise. One thing that's great about the water fast is that your body immediately pretty much becomes really calm. You just kind of have this wave of serenity that comes over you, kind of like all your worries sort of vanish and you just feel really peaceful. Your body feels light, and for me, I just felt like all the stress and all the inflammation in my body, it just vanished, and you just feel so calm. The same thing happened with the juice cleanse. You feel really calm, you feel really light. That was something that with the juice cleanse I felt super light in my body, super light, super free. And with the juice cleanse, I noticed that I had a lot more flexibility. My body became really, really flexible. And I think part of that is because the inflammation just completely goes away and you just can bend and move so freely. It feels really good. With both water fasting and juice cleansing, your stomach gets really flat. Like I found, for me, my stomach really flattened out. There were certain times during the juice cleanse that I would get bloated, and it's like as the juices were going through and loosening up like some stuck stuff in my digestive system, sometimes I would feel bloated, and sometimes I would feel like the juice would hit a pocket and I would get like, I would feel like acid reflux a little. I would feel like things would get stuck. And then eventually, like especially with some gentle abdominal massages, then stuff kind of moved through. And every morning I would wake up, my stomach would be super, super flat. But of course, as you're taking in juices, because your stomach is filling up with liters of juice, it does look like your belly is a little bit more full, but maybe not necessarily bloated. And again, it's different for everybody. But on the water fast, my stomach was so flat it actually became like concave. So that was really interesting, and it just felt so good to not have anything running through my digestive system for that period of time. It's so nice to have that break and to feel like your body is just not devoting that energy of digesting food all the time. It feels really good to take that break. And with the juice cleanse, your body is definitely not doing as much hard work for digestion. It is doing some digesting of the juices, but without the fiber, it's getting a little bit of a break. And so that feels really good too. With both water fasting and juice cleansing, I found that my body temperature lowered dramatically with both. On water fasting, the body temperature stayed low throughout the entire water fast, but with the juice cleanse, it seemed like towards the middle to the end of the juice cleanse, my body temperature came back up a little bit more towards normal. You just feel really cold, like in the beginning, you feel really cold. You need like extra blankets on the bed at night. You need like an extra sweater when you go out. You just feel more cold. As I mentioned before, with water fasting and juice cleansing, your inflammation goes way, way down, or it completely disappears. With water fasting, because you're not consuming any food, your body will go into ketosis after about day 3, I believe. And ketosis is basically where your body is just burning your own fat for fuel. That makes your breath smell really bad. You get really bad body odor as this is happening. Your body's like burning up all this old waste and these toxins that get stored in your fat cells. I remember during my water fast, like my underarms smelling so bad, like I literally had to wash them, and I would put like baking soda under them because I didn't want to use any deodorant or anything, but I would put baking soda on my underarms just to not have to smell myself, because the smell is really strong, much stronger than like on an average day. Like I typically don't really need to wear deodorant at all, but during these cleanses, as your body's getting rid of stuff, that's something to be aware of. You are going to probably smell. With juice cleansing, because you're not in ketosis, because you're getting all the calories that you need, You're probably not going to experience that, although you may, if your body's like pushing out a lot of toxins, you may experience some bad smells. You may also experience some pretty strong smells in the bathroom when you're releasing waste, old waste especially. So with both water fasting and juice cleansing, something that happens is that your senses become very, very heightened. Your hearing, your taste, your sense of smell, everything, your intuition, your sense of touch, everything becomes really, really heightened. It's pretty cool to experience. Then as you start eating, then it kind of tones down again. So water fasting is not for type 1 diabetics. It's also not for those who are pregnant, those who are extremely, extremely ill or weak or malnourished. There may be some other people who should not water fast, which is why it's very important to talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before embarking on a water fast. With juice cleansing, for the most part, I think most people could do a juice cleanse, although it's probably not recommended for type 1 diabetics. I do know that type 2 diabetics can completely reverse their diabetes on a juice cleanse, but of course, again, you want to make sure that with that type of condition and juice cleansing, you definitely want to have supervision or guidance under a healthcare practitioner who is familiar with juice cleansing and diabetes. There's some great documentaries online, on Netflix, on YouTube about juice cleansing, and there are people who have healed a lot of stuff, and so I definitely recommend checking out those documentaries. I can try to put some links below this video for you to check out. And it would be a really good idea to definitely do your research before embarking on either a water fast or a juice cleanse, so that you have all the knowledge and information that you need to make an educated decision about whether this is for you or not. The most important part of any water fast or juice cleanse is how you break it, what you break your juice cleanse with. So with water fasting, it's very, very important because you haven't had any food for a certain period of time and your digestion has gotten this big long break. You definitely don't want to start your first meal with something really heavy or animal products or anything that's going to shock your system, because your system has already been shocked by not eating any food for a certain period of time. So you really need to be careful. With my water fast, I broke my water fast on a slice of watermelon. So we were allowed to have one slice of watermelon, and then in an hour, if we felt hungry, we could come back for another slice of watermelon, and it kind of went on like that. And then the next day, you could have a larger portion of melon, and then you would wait until you were hungry again and then have more melon. And then I think by the third day we were incorporating some grapes. I may have even had some cucumber noodles and tomatoes by the third night. I was definitely drinking orange juice and eating things that I could not eat before the water fast. So what I found with my water fast was that it completely healed whatever was going on in my body causing the food reactions. And I was able to continue eating all those foods for 5 years, up until I went through a very, very stressful period in my life where I was basically living in emergency mode 24/7 for about 6 months. About 6 months after it passed, I developed the food issues again, the sensitivities. I eventually realized what I was dealing with is known as histamine intolerance and mast cell activation syndrome. So it put my body in such a stressful state that I started experiencing all those symptoms over again, and it actually ended up being worse than it was the very first time. So that's one of the reasons why I embarked on the juice cleanse. And although post-juice cleanse, I'm still dealing with the histamine intolerance symptoms, I did completely heal the multiple chemical sensitivity and the rashes that I was experiencing all over my body. So it was definitely a success for me doing the juice cleanse this time around. So when I was ready to break my juice cleanse, I broke it by eating a piece of cherimoya. It's one of my most favorite fruits. It tastes like custard. It's creamy and it's amazing. And I slowly started incorporating fruits into my diet. For at least a couple weeks after you've completed your juice cleanse, you're still drinking juices throughout the day to make sure that you're getting enough calories. There is a whole protocol outlined online done by John Rose, who is one of the juicing experts who makes lots of great videos, and I'll post links to his videos as well as his protocol in the information box below this video, so you have all that information. And that will tell you exactly what to drink, how to drink it, how much to drink, how to break the cleanse, and all of that. So if you are juice cleansing, you'll have that guidance. So breaking the cleanse or breaking your fast is really critical. It's really important that you do it properly so that you don't shock your system, so that you don't disrupt all the good that you did during your fast or your juice cleanse. And it was interesting to me also that with the multiple chemical sensitivity healing, because I used to have a very strong reaction to people's perfume. I used to have a really strong reaction to cigarette smoke and other strong smells. And ever since my juice cleanse, I'm not bothered by that stuff. I can say I don't like it. Like, I definitely don't want to stand around people who are smoking or be anywhere in the vicinity of somebody who is smoking, but it doesn't affect me like it used to. So I found that really interesting, and that was with my juice cleanse. The body adjusts really quickly. You gain your energy and your strength back very quickly after a water fast when you start eating again. I think within the first week, I was already back to walking a mile or two after fasting, and that was fascinating to me because in the very beginning, when you first start eating and you're still trying to gain your strength back, you can barely walk to the end of the driveway, but then within a week, you're literally walking miles again. And so it's really fascinating to see how quickly the body recovers and gains its strength and stamina and energy and all of that. And with juice cleansing, you definitely gain back your energy very quickly as well because you already have so much energy. And I just noticed that as I started eating solid foods again after the juice cleanse, because I was feeling so challenged with all the detox symptoms throughout my whole juice cleanse, once I started eating, I started feeling so much better, and I had more energy, more stamina. I just felt like a completely new person after the juice cleanse. So it was really powerful for me, even though during the juice cleanse it was very challenging. It was so worth it, and healing the chemical sensitivity also was such a huge blessing. So there's so much healing and transformation that takes place during these cleanses and during the fast, and then you really get to see how much transformation and how big the benefits are afterward. With water fasting, you can heal your body really quickly. In a matter of weeks, you can heal some really serious stuff within your body. With juice cleansing, it can take a little longer because you are still consuming juices and getting nutrients into your body. So it can completely vary. It depends on what you're trying to heal or what your desired outcome is. I noticed that with the juice cleansing, I was still breaking out in the rashes a couple months into my juice cleanse. But towards the end, I noticed that I wasn't breaking out in rashes anymore. And of course, by the time I completed the juice cleanse and coming into contact with things that would have made me break out before, and then I realized that I wasn't, that it was completely gone. So it did take a while on the juice cleanse to heal that, but so grateful that it did heal. So those are my personal experiences with both water fasting and juice cleansing. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you are new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified every time I make a new video. That's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.